Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. It was a real beautiful day today, and I went to the city and I went to the park and I hanged out with a friend, and we stopped at Subway. And while we were in there, there was a brother with a bow tie, and of course he salamed me, and I salamed him back. I realized that he was, Nation of Islam, and so, we just started chit chatting a little, and we began to talk about, how we're blessed to be Muslim. And I mean, it was a great conversation, but then it started going way left because he mentioned something about all of us being gods and how we have yeah, I just said that. He said all of us are gods. What's the first thing you do before you become Muslim? You take your Shahada. There is one God, and he has no partners. And what he said was so completely wacky and crazy to me that I couldn't even finish the conversation. I sort of grabbed my sandwich and grabbed my friend's arm and ran out of the subway because I could not believe he said that. What he said, it shocked me because that's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's either you're for it or you're not for it. And if you're not, that makes you a kafar or a kafar. I can never say it right. But that made, that was so shocking. So I decided to come home and do some research on the Nation of Islam and what their theories are or what their beliefs, because how can you claim to be Muslim and say something so outrageous? I mean, it would make the mountains actually shiver, there's only one God. So I went on www.noi.com, which is the official Nation of Islam webpage. And really, I couldn't find anything. It mentioned the Quran, and of course they mentioned what they do and what their aim is in society. We do have a lot of things in common, but they claim that there's only one God. They pray 5 times a day, and the women cover. That there was something else that they do. I'm not sure if they celebrate Ramadan. Yes, they do celebrate Ramadan on Fridays. But that's the only thing I could find out that we have in common. There's one problem. The founder of the Nation of Islam, they believe that this man was God incarnated, that God actually took physical form. And just to say that is crazy, because the Quran clearly states that there shall be no other prophets, or God takes human form. That's blasphemous. I mean, you're saying that God came back and re-perfected the Quran. I mean, that's just crazy, And then I also read about a spaceship, a mother spaceship. I need to pull out my notes. Where are my notes? I cannot find them because I wrote just a whole bunch of notes. And also that the white man is the devil. The Quran speaks to all. It just doesn't speak to a special group of people, or else we wouldn't have white Muslims, we wouldn't have Asian Muslims, Arab Muslims, black Muslims. It's just a lot of things just don't add up. How can you call yourself Muslim but then sit there and talk about how Jesus, there seems to be some type of understanding that Jesus is Lord, and then they tried to like mix it in with the Quran. I hope you know that you cannot add or take away from the Quran. So how are you adding Bible verses and you're Muslim? It just doesn't make any sense. It's crazy and it's blasphemous. How can you call yourself a Muslim when you think that Elijah Muhammad is a prophet because he's the only man who has ever met God in physical form? Now you can hear my voice, like I'm like shivering and I'm like freaking out. Like have you not read the Quran? Like, are you guys reading the Quran? And if you are, whose Quran is this? Because this is not the Quran that was I just, what are you guys reading? How can somebody claim that a mysterious man who came out of nowhere was God in the flesh? That is just so, like, that's the thing I really cannot get over. It just sounds crazy. It's like you basically just told me that the Quran was imperfect, or Islam was imperfect until the founder of the Nation of Islam came along and then made it perfect. That's the most, again, blasphemous. That just makes absolutely like no sense at all. And you can't call yourself Muslim. I'm sorry, but please, you're not Muslim. You can't be in between a fence. You either have to pick a side, okay? And the grass isn't greener on the side that you guys are on, because it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, a mother wheel in a spaceship? I mean, I'm trying to find my notes on the whole alien thing. Like, that's just ridiculous. People, wake up. This is not. And also another problem, I'm saying that black people are God's chosen people, and that, you know, and that a religion can only have a certain race of people. Is that even, where does it say in the Quran that black people are the chosen race and that no other race is allowed into this religion, and that white people are demons? I mean, one thing I do respect about the Nation of Islam is that they do go out there into their communities, and they do try to get involved in what's going on, and, you know, they try to get involved in a lot of civil rights cases, and they offer protection and all of that, yada yada. But this religion is completely opposite to the Quran. I would ask any brother or sister who's involved in Nation of Islam to open the Quran and find statements that support your beliefs. And please don't take a surah out of context. I hate that. I hate that in general. People try to manipulate religion. They try to make it to how they think it should be. I understand that the Nation of Islam came around in the 30s, where black people were suppressed, oppressed, and that you needed a religion to empower the black man, to make them feel like that they were gods. But you cannot be a god. You can put your faith and rely upon God, but you cannot be a god. And just